Welcome to
People of Purpose.
People of Purpose.
People of Purpose.
People of Purpose.
People of Purpose is a podcast of inspiring people whose stories help you see things differently, live with intentionality, elevate the way you participate in the world, and take the necessary leaps in your life to seek and find your passions. Come with us and develop the courage to wholeheartedly pursue your purpose and unleash your truest potential. What's up, People of Purpose? Your host, Tanur Badgley here. I'm here with my good friend, Brenden. Brenden is fresh out of part one of a transformational leadership program I invited him to called Atlas Project. And on this, I'm really excited for you to listen to this episode because we got to talk a lot about his experience in the program and the transformations and breakthroughs and understandings and learnings he had about himself. And then for me, I had just got out of a 10-day meditation in complete silence here in Thailand, learning the techniques that were taught directly from the Buddha himself. And Brenden got to interview me about my takeaways, understanding. And then we kind of got to synthesize both of the programs that I had been through and now he's going through, as well as meditation. And we got to ideate some things that can exist in our communities and our relationships and in our businesses. And so I'm really excited for you to get to listen to this episode and be a fly on the wall. These are the kind of conversations that I wish that I was able to be a part of when I was getting started. So I'm really excited for you to get to share in this experience.
Hey everyone, this is Brenden Hornet. I'm here on People of Purpose podcast with the host, Tanur Badgley, of course. And we are taking an explorative dive into some recent experiences both of us have had. Me recently going through a transformative process and a panel that Tanur actually invited me on, and I'm just starting to get into. Super excited to talk about that. And then he also just went through a recent meditation retreat and has a bunch of different insights, so we're looking forward to discussing that as well and kind of seeing how these different retreats and different programs kind of aligned, and can't wait.
I know on the Zoom I was like a little tiny dot, I would imagine. You guys had like a little,
Yeah, it was small. I remember your mom was debating on like whether we should go up and talk or if that was like specifically for the people there, and I was like, we are a huge group. Let me sneak us in there. So yeah, finally got a hold of the microphone, which was pretty chaotic, and then yeah, glad we got to say hi, and glad that your mom got to speak on it.
Yeah. So what came up for you? What kind of like insights did you have? What feedback did you have from your leadership training?
Oh man, I feel like so much was learned and so much came about. I think one of the biggest things that I took from it was that I'm sacrificing, or I suppose I'm kind of taking away from other people's experience with me by not being vulnerable, not being open, and willing to share like a deeper connection with people.
Wow.
So so that was a huge realization for me. Even from like the first day, it was kind of like a wow factor of like, whoa, my decisions that I'm making unconsciously are affecting like every single person around me, even though I don't see it and I don't like recognize it. And it's all based on stuff that like I've had internally and never even realized forever, you know? Yeah, for sure. So yeah, that was super exciting to realize that. And I also had a sense of realization that I think that one of the reasons that I keep people at face value is because my family wasn't super like deep emotionally. We would talk about, oh, this made us sad, but we didn't really go into depth. We weren't sitting in one-on-one conversations, staring into each other's eyes, crying, things like that. And that was just like a whole another level of like, whoa,
Yeah, for sure. So you felt like you had a lot of insights about how your family specifically has affected how you show up in the world?
Yeah, my family and just like in general, all my relationships, like, even with you, like I've always been pretty like business oriented and like, oh yeah, let's get this done. Let's do this. Oh. And I've been very appreciative of everything that you've done for me, but like now it's on like a deeper level, like, and I want to like have a better understanding of like how our connection is filtered and like how we make choices. Like I'm consciously always like, I've noticed like double thinking things over the past like week, because I'm like, is that like actually like my heart wanting to say that, or is it just like something that may have like been built up over my past that's trying to make this decision for me?
Yeah, that's good to know. Yeah, it's good to start to learn the difference between the two. One's like coming from the mask and the walls and like
Yeah.
the separation of like the truth within, and the other one is like vulnerable
Yeah.
and wide open, and it's less rational and logical, and it's just like it just kind of knows what you want.
Yeah.
Yeah, how was your experience of the what do you want game? That one was I found that one really interesting. Did you guys do that one?
That one was. I I'm glad that what I went in there for initially, I had the same like outcome. Like I kept consistent, and that game like just, I would say it just like reassured me of the goals that I went in there with on a deeper level, because it was like super intense, yelling in my face and stuff, and it was super intense, that exercise. And then I realized that like I kept saying the same things over again, and like the more I said them, the louder I got, the more like I meant them from like within rather than just saying them.
Yeah, for sure. And being on the other side too, and evoking that in the other person was just so intense. Just screaming, screaming. I lost my voice the next morning a lot.
Oh yeah, me too. Yeah, my voice was like gone for like the rest of the night, because we had that exercise, and then we had the visualization of like your parents' exercise where you scream in that too.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, there was one exercise that was really intense for me whenever I was reenacting someone else, and we were having like the deep conversation practice. So, yeah, that was intense, because I mean it's like go hard and no remorse, and then you feel like bad after, but like ultimately it's like setting them up better. But yeah.
Yeah, the way that they get feedback in Atlas is very, like unsugar coated, just direct.
Yeah. Yeah, very, very unfiltered, and yeah, but you know what? It's neutral, right?
It doesn't feel that way at the beginning, but once you get used to it, you can start to realize it is. If you're hearing someone out on the streets talking like that to you, like they're looking to fight, it's sometimes, yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So, yeah, whenever we did the what was it? Oh yeah, whenever we first started giving and receiving feedback, one of the people gave me feedback, and I remember like that very first time I heard it, I was like, oh, like I started getting like cold sweats. I was like, oh, I was getting like disgruntled and sad and like upset, and then after I took a breath, and I was like, this is just how I'm taking it. Like it's meant for progression and growth, and after that, like, I was able to take it a lot better.
Nice. What kind of feedback did you hear about yourself that landed?
Oh, one that our coach, do you know James?
Yeah, James Harris. Who was your coach?
Yes, yeah.
He's powerful. I really like his energy.
Yeah, me too. He's been my guide, like, even from like the 30-minute phone call beforehand, and he was my coach, and yeah, I loved him. He's been great. He's really helped out a lot.
He's really good with his words.
But yeah, he is. Yeah, he's really good with feedback. But yeah, one of his was his experience with me was that I was speaking more like from my head and not from my heart, and that's something that like really resonated with me, because whenever I first heard that, I was like, you're absolutely right. Like, I consciously like think about every single choice I make, every single decision and word I say. So
Yeah, so that was the biggest feedback that you got, was like you're too head oriented in how you communicate.
yeah, that and then a lot of it was just like at the beginning, them telling me that I'm not giving my full potential because I'm keeping things at face value and not being open and vulnerable like my initial goal was. And then as that progressed, like end of Saturday evening and Sunday, I was feeling so much better, like so much more open, and the amount of like joy that was just like in that atmosphere was like insane.
Yeah, I love that. Tell me more about what you felt with the joy.
It was so surreal to see, because I've been like so caught up in living in my current like world where everything is very task oriented, everything is very time oriented, doing everything, but we didn't have our phones. We basically lost track of time because there's no clocks and you're just sitting there the entire day. Yeah, so you didn't have those pressures, and at the end of the day, on Saturday, whenever it was just us and we were able to do less rigorous exercises and more enjoyable activities, it was just like a game changer. Like, everybody had already gone through what they needed to go through, and it felt like there was like a weight lifted, and so everybody was just like smiles everywhere, everybody was having fun, and it was just like an atmosphere that was so like hard to believe exist.
Yeah, it's one of the best.
So yeah, that's super exciting, and I have some photos to share with you about the exercise where we go downtown and get people to dance.
Yeah, where you go get the dance party flash mob type of thing.
Yes, yeah. We ended up choosing Black and Black and partnered up with another team, and our initial like goal was like 24, which was like triple how many people we had. I think we had like 6 people, and once we partnered up with the other team, we hit like 21 in a matter of like 10 minutes, and we had like another 30 or 40. And I remember James told me before we left, because I asked him, yeah, so like how many people do they typically get on these exercises? And he was like, wow, it's crazy, it varies. I've seen a group come back with 50 people before. And so in my head, like after we hit that like 21 mark, I was like, okay, we're hitting 51. And we did. We hit exactly 51 before we went back for that.
Wow, that's a very empowering feeling to know you can get a record.
Yeah, it was. It was super exciting. We were both excited for it. Um, it was whenever we both walked up in the ballroom, they were kind of like confused, and we just told them we chose black and black, and then they were like, well, we can't really argue with that. So
Yeah.
what was your experience? I'm curious about that. What was your experience with the red and black game?
Yeah, with the red black game, I think enough of us convinced our team to keep going black every round. We like kind of got it, I felt like, and we did 3 rounds in a row of black with the other team, and then they broke the pattern and the game ended. So I didn't have any major insight other than like validated the fact that like we can work together to get a result, and also like listening to the instructions. Like it's not about getting the most; it's the most collective points, and not assuming it's like the most points for us. And then Anjali was our instructor. It looks like you have the same one as us, Anjali. And she
Yes.
was explaining how you can abstain. Like if you don't vote, then that round never happens. And so that was interesting too, that you can like stand in the way of like an inevitable red or something. If your team is voting red, you can be the one that doesn't even vote. And that was an insight that I had. It expanded my mind about what other opportunities are possible than just being like, all right, I'm outvoted, whatever. Like you can actually create a little revolution based on the rules of that game.
Yeah, I like that. I hadn't even honestly thought of the fact that someone could completely stop the entire vote. I didn't even really think of that factor whenever I was playing. I was just eye on the prize, and I did choose red right off the bat, and then after the first round and we chose red, as people were like explaining the black strategy, I was like, that actually makes 100% sense, and I switched to black. But I think that's like really reflective of like how like I initially want to like push people away, initially want to like give everything I can to just like succeed, and then not willing to like just open up and work with other people. So that's kind of like what I got from that.
Yeah.
You know, it's not that I'm unwilling to work, it's just that like initially I'm just yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
So
That's really good
that
stuff.
was
Yeah.
yeah, that was.
Yeah, that
How
game was really
your-
impactful on a lot of people. For me, I didn't feel like I already felt like that is like how I live is like that. I learned about how I can get other people to be enrolled into that vision more, or I can stand against when others are like not doing it, instead of like kind of just feel anger or annoyance or frustration. There's always a empowerment that you can claim in this kind of stuff. That
Yeah.
was where more of my insight was.
Yeah. What I just got off the phone with James like not even a full hour ago, actually, maybe a little bit over, but we were talking about breakthrough and getting prepared for that. What advice do you have for me for breakthrough? Because he explained that it's a whole different like structure, in the sense that not really any one person is just going to be leading us. Like it's very reliant on our effort.
Yeah. Yeah, it's epic. It's really epic. I liked it significantly more than I liked Explore. Like, Explore has a lot of
Okay.
um, jarring, somewhat traditionally negative feelings. You're getting beat down. It's got this like boot camp vibe. Everyone's wearing black and yelling at you. And Breakthrough, it starts to like go upward. Like you start to elevate a little bit more. And it's more of a collective effort. It's not just one leader to you. It's like it's more of a team. So yeah, I would say like this is a chance to actually do leadership stuff like with others, not just like it explores a lot of like leading yourself. Um, so this is a chance, even though they feel like they're like little baby sprouts of like, I got this thing now, I can be more heart centered. Like go and apply it like to supporting other people to have like major transformation, because breakthrough gets to be more like
Yeah.
student led, and so if you are they call you a player led stuff. So I would say for me that's where I started to like have more of a voice, and I started to find platforms of influence, and I started to it's a big stretch because now you're being very publicly seen in your efforts, and you're kind of suck at that way of leading because you haven't done it ever. And so there's just a lot of breakdowns come a lot. And so just get ready for a lot of failure. Like I tried something, it fell flat. I'm embarrassed. You get feedback from lots of people. And yeah, just don't get your ego too wrapped up in it. Like it's part of the growth process. And if you can stay open-minded about looking kind of silly to others, kind of similar to getting that dance party thing together, like breaking through that like 20 seconds of discomfort. Yeah. There's a lot on the other side for you, like joy and also personal growth. So I would say maintain a lot of open-mindedness around like public failures that you're about to have.
Yeah. Okay. That's exciting. Yeah, I'll be able to text you now that you are out of your retreat. So that night that I have a breakdown, I'm just going to be like, yeah, you were right.
Yeah, man, Breakthrough was my favorite weekend of the whole thing. I feel like it was it's also just so beautifully designed. Like I had just every little corner, it's like a whole nother world of like, wow, this game that I'm in is just like such a beautiful rabbit hole of surprises. And all of a sudden it's like more feelings of like major wave of joy and bliss and connection that like I've never experienced before. And I mean, yeah, that's the kind of stuff people think they're gonna get from like going to concerts and football games and going out to the club. And this is just so much deeper and better and richer, and you get that over and over and over again in Breakthrough. I really like it.
That's good. I'm super excited about it. How would that, I know you mentioned that you went to you were invited to something like somewhat similar in California, right? Recently.
What do you mean? California, somewhat
Or
similar?
you had told me that the person who invited you to a podcast in California, or Vegas, sorry.
Okay.
The person who invited you to a podcast in Vegas, they had done something similar.
Yeah, there's a program in Vegas called Choice Leadership, and it's same terminology, same exercises. It's from the same stuff. You'll learn more in Breakthrough too about kind of the lineage of this work, like where it comes from, because you'll get to know the founders more.
Yeah.
And they'll sit down with you and answer your questions and stuff. But this isn't just like Atlas invented all this stuff. It's been around for 60, 70 years. Like it started in California is where it was starting, and it was like a response to like Vietnam War was just like anti things, and they weren't like necessarily for things. And it was like, well, we don't want to just be hippies that are smoking weed and anti-war. Like, what are we actually wanting to create in the world? And so this whole movement popped up. And then there was like core programs initially with core founders, and then those founders have died off, and then they've spun into different companies, and Atlas is one of them. Atlas isn't that old. It started in like 2017, I think. And but I mean, like your trainers have been doing it from before Atlas too. So it's the same work. It's just a different culture a little bit, I guess. Yeah. I haven't gone to any other ones, so I don't know exactly what the vibe is like. But I got to go there for day one of their Explore. Like the podcast guest I had coached 8 times, so she had done like what James did, like 8 rounds, and not just
Wow.
Explore, but the whole 90-day thing. She had done that whole journey 8 times as a coach, so she was like very invested in that community, and
Yeah.
yeah, so I got to meet the founder of that thing. That lady's been doing it for 40 years, and she was just so joyful and radiant and like alive and excited, and it was like the very first like hour before they started. People were coming in the doors and meeting each other for the first time and going into the training room, and the music was starting, and that I was there for that moment. It's like a lot of memories of
That's awesome.
yeah, rushing to the chairs. I remember that feeling in Atlas, so intense. You do not want to be late.
Yes. Yeah. We had one person that ended up being late to the chairs one time, and yeah, it was public. It was public. Everybody was just like trying to keep their heads down, like, oh gosh, yeah. But yeah, no, it's intense. It was an intense.
There's definitely a lot of
experience,
moments I was like,
I
what did I
understand.
consent to? Like, why am I like enslaved and in prison right now?
Yeah, exactly. The 12-hour days and no phone, like, yeah,
The
just
food
water and
food is really
snacks.
inconsistent too at times. It's like don't know when food's coming next.
Yeah, it is, because yeah, the breaks are all determined on them. You don't know where you're going, and then also you don't know like when you're getting out. So you could have to like you have to wake up and be ready by like 10 or 11 the next morning, and they might send you out at like 1 or 2 in the morning. So
Get ready for Breakthrough. I found Breakthrough to be like significantly more challenging on time and energy than Explore was.
really, yeah, because I felt like I felt exhausted after Explore. My body was just like achy, and I just felt like exhausted.
Yeah. I found it to be like almost double
So
the
yeah.
exhaustion on Breakthrough.
Oh man. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm excited. I'm ready. That
There's like a fear that comes
we
up when
love a
it's
good
like, all right,
challenge.
it's 3 a.m. I still have homework to do. They're starting class extra early tomorrow because we have more to do because we got caught up in not doing enough the night before because people were needing feedback instead of actually getting the exercise done. There's, yeah.
Mm,
So,
yeah. So is it a lot of like power group is there like a lot of power group work as opposed to like individual?
uh, I don't think there's as opposed type of thing. No, I I don't think I should
Mm.
speak on that too much.
You're killing me, Tanner.
It's better to not know.
I know you guys keep saying that, and I get it, because like I know that like different people will experience it differently, but I want you to know like how hard it was for me to say yes to you, given the lack of information that you gave me about it. Like I understand, but it was like so hard to agree to.
Yeah. And what does that say about you?
I think honestly, I think it says something about like everybody that went, because I think being able to do that is like a risk, and I think that's what they're looking for. I think they want people that are willing to, take risks to be there, so that they know they're willing to put in that effort and take the risk while they're there.
Risk what you have for what you can have on the other side of breaking down this little, the thing that's built on the wrong foundation. Let's be willing to tear it down, start the right foundation. It takes a very. I
Yes.
told you. I think I told you. I don't. I didn't think most people are fit for doing this. I still feel that way. Like
Mm.
some people were like, "Should this be mandatory in the school system and stuff?" And my view is like, I do not think so. I think it needs to be chosen, and I think like 1% of people are going to choose this. Most people are going to choose comfort and sameness. So I didn't invite people I didn't think would be going through the whole thing like successfully. And yeah, I saw like there's something in you that wanted what's on the other side of this work so bad that you're willing to do whatever it takes to get there. And so once I saw that, I made the invitation.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, I really appreciate you inviting me because, like I said, it's been changing. And I felt like the moment I left, I felt different. And I'm glad that I had a plane ride on the way back. Because I didn't on the way there, but I'm glad I had a plane ride on the way back with like Kristen and some of the other like KC group, so that because the entire plane ride back we just like talked about like what we learned and like how we were feeling, and like it was just so much different than when we went in there.
I love that. Yeah, I know that for me too. We had 5 of Kansas City people in mind, and it was so powerful to be sharing all this stuff with people. Like, having that community was just really, really good. I'm happy you guys have it. You guys look like such a big group too. So hard to not sit next to each other and stuff, I imagine.
Yeah, we had that was on the first day whenever they were going over like the not sitting next to each other rule. She was like, okay, how many people here are from KC? And literally we all rose our hands, and she was like, oh wow, okay. That's gonna be a challenge. So yeah, I think we had 25, I want to say 21 to 25 people there out of 70. So
what do you mean there's 21 people from Kansas City?
I think that is the number we came up with. Because there was let me look, because we have maybe it was 12.
Yeah, you guys had less, like 11 or 12 in the picture that you sent me.
Okay, yeah. I swear I heard someone say 25, but that must have just been in my head. I think it was like 12, because let me count. 1, 2.
If you guys go each invite a few people, if you can get 3 or 4 people to sign up, and my mom does, and so, you got then that next group is gonna have a ton.
Yeah, I mean, at that point, they kind of have to make one in Kansas City, right?
I know, that's what that's my vision. Let's get this thing in Kansas City.
Would you coach if it was in Kansas City?
Yeah, I'm playing a coach in Austin in May. I signed up as a applicant to be a coach. I don't know what the process looks like. No one's reached out to me yet, but I want to coach the May 15th. It'd be ATX 12. I signed up.
That's exciting. I'm excited for you. I hope you get that, because that I think it would be really enjoyable to be a coach if you are able to commit to that, because I think like you would be able to see it from a different perspective while still going through the same like program experiences, and on top of that you'd be able to just sit there and like help other people just absolutely change their life.
It would feel very meaningful. Yeah, it
would feel
I mean, you'll find
meaningful.
like, at least for me, I found like since being in the program, like I've turned into much more of a coaching figure in people's lives now. I mean, you're one of them. Like people,
I know.
There's just something about your ways of being that for me started to attract people to ask me questions that are like coaching related. And so now I get to go into all those questions. Then the questions just start to be, because you get coached so much in Atlas that now you have the tools too to I remember coming out of Breakthrough, and like we had our mobile notary come to our house for a home refinance, and he just broke down sobbing, telling me this story he'd never told anyone before, and we had this big like minute-long hug. And I was like, wow, I've got a superpower now to like get people like from the regular world to like have a full-on breakthrough experience and 10 minutes just through the ways of being and questions.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think I've already like, I'm hoping that like by the end of the entire Atlas experience, I have like a knowledge base or like a platform of questions that I can like know and go to in like situations like that. Because as soon as I got home, I one of the first things I did was have a sit down talk with my girlfriend, and I caught myself asking like the same questions that like I was being asked whenever it applied, and I just hope like I get like a whole bunch of those. But my actual challenge is to talk with my parents, which we'll see, it might be tomorrow.
Oh yeah, you got a challenge to talk with your parents.
Yes, yeah.
How you
and
feeling
you had
about
the
that?
same challenge, didn't you? Wasn't it
Yeah,
didn't you have the same challenge to talk with your parents?
yeah, yeah. I got to sit down with both of my parents and tell them the impact divorce has had on me.
Yeah. Um, Man, I'm not gonna lie. Like as soon as I came out of Explore, I was like ready. I was like, put them in front of my face right now. I'm ready to go.
Let's go.
And then the next the next day, I was like, okay, yeah, I can do this. Let me call them. Called they to like set up a time for us to like hang out and meet, and I wasn't able to get a hold of them. And I was like, oh, okay, I'll call them the next day. I'll call them Tuesday. And Tuesday rolls around, and I go back to like working all day. And I remember like sitting there, and I'm like, oh no. I'm like, oh gosh. Yeah, so I'm starting to feel like a little bit more nervous about the discussion. Like I know it needs to happen, and I know I can do it, but like I'm really nervous about like how to word it, how to say it again. And I
Yeah.
think that's just because like I'm getting back into my head.
Breakthrough will help you a lot. Like breakthrough, I think forever changed a lot of this conversation in my own head, and I saw a lot of my peers too. Just like this type of fear, it never evaporates fully, but like it dissolves. Like its intensity is just nowhere near what it was before Atlas. And I feel like in Explore, you're not really walking away with a lot of those tools necessarily to have that kind of conversation, so you're kind of
Yeah.
winging it. But I think that's also the point. Is like
Yeah.
this is not a conversation to like fix things. It's a conversation to just open up a channel of communication.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. How did it go with your parents? Were they like very understanding and like took it very well?
Yeah. And what was actually interesting for me was I was like, I'm not sure if I'm going to get to talk to them together about it. Like, I never get to sit with both of them. I'll have to talk to my mom about it and my dad about it, and that's okay. And then it's interesting how, like, magical things happen. Like, I was thinking about it.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm just going to leave it up to God, the universe, to, like, make this happen. Like, I want to do it together. I'm going to declare that we get to do it together. And then had this weird gap in time. I think some sort of Google Meet got canceled last minute, so I had an hour of like unplanned time in my day. I made myself like some blueberry, a yogurt, honey, like little treat to have, and I sat like in the sunshine.
Yeah.
And was like, oh, I get like a little break. This is awesome. And then all of a sudden, mom comes, dad comes, like 3 minutes apart from each other, just for spontaneous visits. And I was like, wow, like this is crazy. Like dad's just like, oh, I was just in the area and swinging by to say hi to my son. Like, do you have an hour to hang out with me? And I was like, yeah. And my mom's like, oh, I was coming by to clean the house more because I didn't finish 2 days ago, and I'm done. I'm done now. I was upstairs and I didn't know she was in my house or whatever. And then she's like, I've got some free time. Do you want to tell me about your Atlas stuff? I was like, all right, both of you guys want to hang out with me. Let's do it together. And by the way, I already have an assignment to talk to you guys about some stuff. So let's go. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy how that just aligned. I actually messaged my parents just a few hours ago. Like, hey, can we meet early before Thanksgiving tomorrow? Of course, it has to be right before like the the family lunch.
That's pretty what do they say, like stretchy. That's a risky thing right there.
I know, yeah. I'm hoping, like, here's my thought process. Like, I feel like I'm making it out to be like a bigger deal, and I'm sure it will go just fine. And then I will feel more connected to them during Thanksgiving, as opposed to like doing it after Thanksgiving and then like having this like weight of, I need to talk to you. I have a committed goal that I need to accomplish.
My advice is to remain meditative on the possibility. And claiming it. Like, this is inevitable, that we have a better Thanksgiving because we've had this conversation. And the ripple impact that this will have on those others at that table will be massive. And I will be the spark of change in my family. Let's go. Like, that is more of the conversation that I give energy to. Now, I don't worry about, well, what if this and what if that, because that's all a head conversation.
Yeah, no, I'm committed. I'm ready for that. I think I am. We'll see. I'm committed to doing just that. So we're gonna get it done. How was your meditation retreat, Tanner?
Yeah, man, it was phenomenal. It was like the perfect little dessert to Atlas. It was like, it was like similar insights and wisdom, I would say. But it was like a very like different way of accessing it. Like, Atlas is extremely social, and you're like getting to the ends of like you're getting exhausted and fatigued and like getting so wrung out that you're getting out of your head and into your heart. And it was like a very like go energy, like we're sprinting a marathon. And this meditation thing was more like, have a 2-hour lunch, mindfully eat your meal, go on a walk, take a nap, and then go meditate for an hour and a half. And it was like no talking, no eye contact. It was like you are your own little container of energy. Like, you're not exchanging energy with anyone else for 10 days. And again, no phone.
Wow.
And I had no clock and no watch, so I just went by bells. Like, they just ring the bell when you're a few minutes away from needing to go back to the meditation hall. And so it was like a very different existence than Atlas, and very refreshing, because this was a lot more, I felt like restorative. Like, I got really good rest, and I also got a lot of time to process and digest all the new changes that Atlas caused in my life. Because Atlas, you're planting seeds and making stuff happen and moving mountains, and all of a sudden I find myself in a village in Thailand with a wife that's about to give birth in 2 weeks, and I wanted to like stop and check in and be like, who is Tanner now? Like, I have transformed many rounds over since 7 years ago when I last did this meditation. So all of that was enjoyable, and that's not even the meditation. Like, that's everything surrounding the exercises was like, it's like really mindful way of living. And I realized like how creative I am, and how many ideas really can flow from like the deep root of like, this was more like heart-mind rooted connection. It was like not just heart. Like, Atlas was a lot of heart. This had a lot of mind to it also, because you're like, it's a lot of like focusing. So I would realize like focusing with deep-rooted open-mindedness, open-heartedness would create ideas and experiences and memories. Like, memories just really popped up, stuff I hadn't thought about since the original memory when I was a little boy.
Wow.
And I had a lot of time to sit with them and kind of get insight. And then I learned a technique too that was just like really, really valuable to learn. It's like the technique that the Buddha himself like did to find enlightenment.
Yeah.
So there's like a lot of wisdom
tell me about
to
that. Technique,
that.
like...
What was that?
Yeah, tell me about like that technique, like what it's supposed to bring you.
Yeah, so the Buddha is, his name is Gautama the Buddha. 2,500 years ago, he found like liberation from suffering. He was like never suffered anymore, and became enlightened. Like could basically bring out anyone else from wherever they were at in their journey into like their path of liberation. And he did it through like meditation, basically. And he's someone that had like done everything. He'd done like high levels of business. He had like many beautiful women in his life. He was like really popular. He had traveled around like the region and the world. He like had all the best food. He lived in the palace, and he gave up all of that to sit under a tree and figure out how to get out of these cycles of suffering. So a lot of the philosophy is around like what causes true joy in our life, and real peace is not like the standard way that we think. We think that if we have like that lifestyle that he had, that we're going to feel those things, but it doesn't really change the way we feel inside to have everything we want. It actually causes a suffering cycle because we get caught in craving and addiction and clinging to things, and so we create this false reality that we think things are permanent and that like this is mine. And really, the truth of nature is that everything is arising and passing away. They're being born and dying and like decaying, and there's an impermanence to everything. And so you need to observe that law of nature within yourself, that feelings of high feelings and feelings of low feelings are always impermanent. They're gonna change. And so we are not just like our feelings, and our experience of life is more than just feeling good that I ate a good bite of food or that I had a really good conversation with a relationship. You need to remain grounded in the fact that that food, that relationship is going to change. It's going to pass away. New stuff's coming in. This stuff's leaving, and eventually I will leave. I will lose my mind and lose my body. And so, and then similar with like aversion, like you're pushing away things that you don't want. And you're creating safety in your life to like avoid unwanted things. Like extreme cases are like homelessness and drug addiction and breakups, and we don't have risky conversations because we're worried about the repercussions it could have. And so we create a life that protects us from bad feelings, and then that causes suffering too, because we think that we can have some insurance against feeling bad. But and then the other option we take is ignorance, just like not acknowledging that we feel a certain way and just kind of bypassing it and like circumventing it and saying like, oh, this like obstacle to my happiness and my peace like doesn't really matter, it doesn't really exist. Who cares? Like I'm gonna just work around it, and that causes suffering patterns as well. And so he figured out how you break out of that pattern by having like a experiential. The words are chitta, samadhi, and panya. They're like ancient Indian concepts that were around before the Buddha. But samadhi is it starts with chitta, and chitta is like living a life of morality. And so when you go into the meditation center, you take what they call these precepts. Like you're not going to kill anything, including like the mosquitoes and the ants, because you're planting seeds of like wanting to kill things. You're not going to have any sexual like energy get past with anybody. You're not like going to take any entertainment in. So like no books, no music, no reading, no writing, no talking. You're taking a vow of silence. Wow. So that you're having like an authentic, real experience, and it's not getting filtered through language constructs. And you're not like having other people's energy influence what's really happening in the base of you. And so when you take like these things, you're now like setting yourself up to live a moral lifestyle, and then inside of that morality, then you can now have more mental mastery. And so the next level is samadhi, which is like mastering the mental, which is like right ways of thinking. And our culture likes to have two ways of samadhi. One is like devotion, so you're like thinking about your God or your prayers or your faith or your devotion. And then the other one is intellectual, and so you're thinking about like what the books are saying, what the teacher's saying, what the influencer's teaching you, and those are fine, but they're missing their surface level. Like the root of it is your experience, and so having like right thinking about your experience is important, and we oftentimes try to do one of those three things, like ignore our experience, push our experience away, or cling to an experience we don't want to leave us. And we tell ourselves, we create story around those things, and we create ego identifications with those things, and none of that is like right mental mastery. Mental mastery is like observing reality as it is. And so in the meditation, you're not altering your breath. You're not visualizing something that you want to happen in your future. You're not like you're not creating new sensations in your body. You're observing what the sensations actually are, and you're removing judgment of good and bad and right and wrong. You're just seeing it for what it is, and you're sitting with it. And then the third layer is panya, which is like wisdom, and it's like experiential based wisdom. And so the wisdom that these sensations in our body are arising and passing away. And so in an hour and a half meditation, you go through feelings of bliss and joy and peace and harmony, and then you go through the negative stuff, and then you go through periods of like blank and blind, like I'm not getting any sensation, my mind's not fixed on anything, what happened the last 10 minutes. Like, so you're going through these phases, but you keep coming back, and we did 100 hours of meditation. You start to get that right wisdom with how you are, with how your emotions and feelings and stuff are like creating the reality of my life. And then it's like it's a tool that you get to take through anything. So like you can have things break down and amazing things come to you, and you don't get swept away with that stuff. Like you stay on the path, and as you keep walking that path, you don't build up. There's this other concept called sankharas. Sankharas are like the seeds that are getting planted in you, in your body, in your mind, that are like turning into sensation. And so a lot of our seeds are like, on the good side, it's like I like really want to experience that orgasmic sensation again. I'm going to hold on to that. And that creates like a feeling of like, it can like break your sexual conduct. Like you can now become too sexually promiscuous and no longer like have your commitments to your wife or whatever. Or you can be putting like food as a god in your life, and instead of like the real God. Or you can be wanting to alter your reality through superficial things. And none of those things are like necessarily bad. It's just those aren't the things to cling to anymore. And so and then on the aversion side, like it feels like tension and tightness, and so when you're scanning your body, you can kind of feel areas that are like tense and tight, and as you hold your attention there, you can kind of just watch. It kind of just dissolves and changes and moves and passes. And the Buddha's insight was like, it's not really the outside thing that we are craving. It is the sensation that thing gives us in our body, and we're craving that sensation in our body. And so creating a separation between me and the sensation is like a necessary thing to begin to like unlock ourselves from this like unconscious pattern of suffering. We now like claim independence from the sensation. The sensations come on us and then they leave, and they come on us and they leave, and we're still staying rooted in like just being. And we're not like saying that everything is mine, like recognizing this little empire we built for ourselves can always pass away and dissolve. You end up just living a life of service and being in total compassion for others, and valuing inner peace above highs and lows of life.
Yeah. So are they saying that like the feelings and the tension are almost just like bringing attention to that certain area that maybe needs like clarity and like more experiential like understanding?
Yeah, maybe, but that's where your wisdom comes in. Like, one thing about wisdom is
Mm.
like the Buddha says like don't accept what I teach you. Like, try it and then see what you will accept from your own experience of yourself. So maybe that's an insight you have,
Wow.
that like, yeah, like I'm blocked in here. But again, don't tell yourself a story, oh, this is my heart chakra, and so this means that thing because I've read about that or I've heard about that from a teacher. It's like observing
Yeah.
reality as it is for you. It's truth. It's like getting to like ultimate truth. And so maybe that's the takeaway you had, and maybe that you don't know yet. A lot of things I found I don't know yet because I just meditated for 10 days. It's not like I lived 10 decades of meditating. Uh, but yeah,
Yeah.
it's illuminating to start to see like how much I bypass these like tensions in my body and just act like they don't matter, or I try to change them. I'll like try to like crack my neck or like twist my
Right.
spine or things like that and act like, oh, okay, that I just made it go away. But the pattern is going to keep showing up because these things are in your life to teach you something, get you wisdom. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, so it's like all that was just like extremely fascinating to observe in myself, and also really hard. It's hard
Yeah.
to sit there for an hour and a half and keep your focus like on your breath or on your body and not get bored and crave something else. I want to
Mhm.
lay down, or I want to be in air conditioner, or I want to be talking with someone, and
Yeah.
it's like, okay, well, what am I learning from that I want those things? What am I trying to push away? Where is that feeling in me that I'm like not comfortable with? What does boredom feel like in my body? And then now you can take those tools into life
Yeah.
and start to recognize like, okay, well, I'm bored in this relationship, let's shake that up. Like, I don't need to like avoid
Yeah.
the relationship because I'm bored. Like, it gives you that sense of empowerment again, choice. And then you start to live in service. You don't like blame others for your miseries, or you don't take on victimhood. You start to just see ways in which
Hmm.
I can handle anything that comes at me in life, and I love so much, and it's unconditional, and it's a deep well that never runs out. Let's just keep giving and giving and giving and not expecting anything in return, because I don't need anything. I don't need a different sensation.
Yeah.
This is all I need. It's just like my breath, my body, mind, matter, wisdom, love, and like we'll see what comes of it. I can have intentions, I can have vision,
Yeah.
but don't get too attached to it where you're like start to be happy or unhappy based off of your results. Like, life is not about performance
Very,
like that.
very interesting. I mean, you know that like if I'm going for something, I get caught up in it. So that's very interesting, like enlightenment that I'm glad you shared that with me.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's not about like not wanting to get caught up in some game you're playing. Like, I still feel like I get to be competitive and I get to have vision. I like think about vision all the time. I want things to get created with Home Guru and Dharma House and on my podcast, and I want to give things to my daughter and stuff. Like, that's not bad to want those things. It's that attachment that starts to get bad. You start to get this narrow fixed image of like
Yeah.
what is good for you, and you can kind of
Mhm.
like blow through a lot of missed opportunities to be in contribution and love and service and presence, and awareness.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like the concept is called equanimity, like being equanimous in your mind. It's like not going
Mhm.
too high, too low, just always being able to come back to a centeredness, regardless of how intense
Yeah.
a season of life might be. I was meditating on like Michael Jordan
Wow.
and Patrick Mahomes and some of these like great people about like these guys got it.
Yeah.
Like, they can like lock in and like get
Yeah.
like their mental mastery totally in place where they can go win a game, and then they can be like joking around and
Yes.
joyful and like, and if they lose, they just shrug it off as like it's not that big of a deal. They're not like pissed off forever about it that they lost. So I've noticed like too of wisdom in myself now being 33 instead of like 23. I can like bounce back really quickly now. Like I don't get too hung up on a loss. I don't get too swept away by a win. It's just like, just like this is how it is right now. I feel this way. And you can feel pissed off or whatever, but don't get attached to it. This is like when you feel angry and you're meeting some angry person or something, you're fanning that flame and it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger to meet that with anger. Really, if you just meet it with let the flame die down, like it will eventually go away. You don't need to create actions to like get rid of a feeling. Like the feeling will naturally subside if you just like watch it.
Yeah, and I think that's a really good analogy too. Like, you know, watching like a campfire, like if you stop adding wood to it, then it you can just watch it turn into ash, you know?
Yeah. The problem is like
I think
culture, our movies we watch, all that stuff teaches us to like meet the anger with anger, and it's the equivalent of like putting more lighter fluid on the fire.
Yeah, absolutely. Wow. Man, I learn something new every day. I'm glad that like I I'm glad that I went to that party of yours that one time. Yeah, that's all it took, cuz like ever since then you have invited me to just like a group of like knowledge and wisdom and influence, and it's been something higher that I was looking for, you know, like a lot of, you know, very successful people say that you have to kind of surround yourself by people with like a growth mindset, with a mindset that, you know, they are always working on themselves, always learning, always looking to be better. And I think that's like something I'm super thankful that I am surrounded by now.
I love that. Yeah, you're definitely surrounded by it now. And and you did this. You are the source of this. Like you showing up, you taking the risk to not know anyone at a party, you asking for feedback and coaching, you sharing vulnerably when I asked those deeper questions. I was asking some deep questions to you, I think, at that first one. And
Yes, yeah. I remember that first call. Yeah, no, there's some deep questions, and I was caught off guard, but like now I'm like, I wouldn't have it any other way.
Nice. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, you wouldn't be enjoying being in this kind of community if you weren't also a contributor, like a giver as well in this regard. Like, in the beginning, when you get invited into an elevated community, I found like just a sense of like wonderment of like, wow. I remember I was on this like river rafting trip. I got invited by a podcast guest. The guy was like worth like $50 million.
Yeah.
And he was like fully retired from business stuff. He was in his like, I think he was like 35, super fit, Australian guy, like very good looking, beautiful wife, like, and he had this community of other like 8-figure entrepreneurs that he was like a leader of, and he was having them do like a river trip for 5 days on like this third hardest river to get permits on in America. It's like western Colorado, eastern Utah. It was in these canyons. We saw bald eagles and stuff every day. And it was like focused around like meditation and yoga. And we did a night with mushrooms. And I was like in a canoe with someone that had sold a business for $169 million. And spent 8 hours with that guy asking him all these questions about, and this was like my 3rd month of entrepreneurship, and I was like, how am I in this community? Like, what do I have to give here?
Yeah.
And because of how immersive it was and how long it was, I started to go from like the imposter syndrome to I'm just gonna be Tanner. I don't have a lot of business advice to offer, but I know how to be adventurous and funny and joyful and ask like intimate questions, and I'm just gonna go for it. And I got to watch these people open up and say things to me that they said they hadn't been telling anyone else. And I started to realize, like, oh, I actually have something I can contribute to communities that's beyond just, like, you know, the traditional statistics of net worth and stuff. So I think, I encourage you to look for those things more and more in yourself. Those things that make Brenden really sparkle and unique. That doesn't matter like how successful other people are by traditional standards. Like you know how to add your own little juice to that, and now the community is even better because you chose to add that.
Yeah, I'm going to be looking for that now. I'm going to consciously be looking for that, and I'll probably send all you guys out like a poll like every week, just like list of everything like that they think I can contribute, just so that was a joke, but just so like every week I can better realize what I'm contributing.
Go for everything you want, man. Like don't hold back. Like what you want in your life, like go for it in this Atlas container. This is like such a unique opportunity to be with so many people that are like claiming like the life of their dreams. Like this is and you have so much coaching and support and training and accountability. Like it's such a unique chance to spend the next 3 months just like fully taking off in your life, and that's enough time too to rewire your neurochemistry, and like now you have new like heart mind connections that you didn't have before, and you have new habits, and you have a new community, and you have new goals, and it's like it's very, very exciting.
Yes, I am excited. I'm excited for that. And I'm excited for you and Luna and Naknoi to all become such a amazing family here in the next 2 weeks. That's super exciting. I'm excited for you.
Yeah, thank you. I'm super pumped as well. It's going to be a big change. Yeah, I'm really excited to bring another life into the world.
I know. That'll be crazy. So wait, do you guys have like an estimated date that Luna will be coming?
We had our last appointment on Monday, and they're still working off the original one of December 16th. Okay. They measured all the baby and stuff, and the baby's like above average on everything, size and weight and length and all those things. And my wife is below average on all those things, so my guess is that the laws of nature will cause this baby to come earlier than the date, so it doesn't outgrow. There's no more space in my small wife to grow, and so I imagine it's going to start pushing out. My feeling is it'll be December 12th. We'll see.
Hey, that's a day before my birthday. Tanner, if you can make it happen, my birthday is the 13th. If you can make it happen, then that'd be cool.
That's cool. Yeah, your birthday's the 13th, my stepmom's is the 12th. There's a real chance, like, our baby would share a birthday with one of you guys.
That'd be super cool.
And I really hope it's born in the PM here, because otherwise it's going to be so confusing. It was like US PM, Thai AM is going to be different dates.
Yeah. That'll be crazy. Because it's Thanksgiving there right now, right?
Yeah, it's Thursday morning at 11:33 a.m.
Yeah, happy Thanksgiving, Tanner.
Yeah, thank you. I was on our home guru call last night, and they're like, "What are you doing for Thanksgiving?" I was like, "No one here does anything for Thanksgiving. It's an American holiday." And they're like, "Huh, that's kind of boring." I was like, they're like, "You can't do anything to bring Thanksgiving to this village?" I was like, "Okay, let me give Knocknoise some ideas, and we're gonna." She invited like 4 different units of family members to all have a meal. We're gonna do it tomorrow night, so it'll be 1 day late since they need a little bit of heads up, and I'm gonna throw down pretty big for like all the gourmet meats. Like we're gonna get a lot of shrimp, and like fancy fish, and like nice beef and good cuts of pork and stuff like that. Like it's gonna be different than a turkey and all that stuff, but it's still the same concept of like you eat unique food that took a lot of like love and care to prepare, and you bring a bunch of people together. So we're gonna do that. Yeah,
that's super cool. That'll be really cool. That's very interesting that you guys are bringing that into like a new place. I love that.
Yeah, I'm happy I found some energy to want to do that. I was just like, do I care enough about organizing this? And I was like, yeah,
Yeah.
even after the Atlas stuff, you go through these feelings of like, like I don't know if it's worth all the energy. Things don't need to take a lot of energy. And that's the other big insight you're gonna get is like, you can just declare things, and they feel like impossible things, but
Mm.
like how my parents came together, I didn't have to put in any effort. It just happened. So there's something interesting that
Yeah.
happens when like you set a core intention, like the
Yeah.
world starts to just make ways like to make it happen. So I just suggested that,
Yeah.
and that was
It's
all
the
my
third
work was
door.
so far. I suggested it, and now Knock Noise mobilized people. Like someone's going shopping for this one and that one, and someone's driving to the city an hour away to get stuff, and we're getting a
Mm.
space organized, and it's like it can turn into a community effort
Yeah.
now.
Yeah. If you commit to it, that third door will just open.
Yeah. Yeah, dude, you read The Third Door before going to Atlas. That book is like, I think really
Yes.
validates a lot of what you learn at Atlas as well.
Yeah. No, it's like it set like a fire in me going into it, and I was prepared. I was like, I felt so much more like prepared to just like better myself and push through anything to find like a better version of myself after reading that.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and I see like when you keep this up year after year, like we're gonna have that be like the people that we are around are those type of people that he's interviewing. Like we're we're gonna be
Yeah.
amongst the next founders of the next great things that exist in our society. We're gonna be some of those people, I believe, and
Yeah.
yeah, it's just like it's a very
Yeah.
empowering, fun thing to witness. Like I was
Yeah.
walking through
So,
a
uh,
bookstore in the mall the other day. And I was like, I interviewed that author on my podcast. That's crazy. His book is right here. And I was like, I got an
yeah.
ad for. There's some new app out there, like I think called Intro. I don't know if you've been getting this ad also, but you can like uh, get a one-on-one video conference with like founders of major startups. Like the founder of Zillow's on there, and like Reddit, and like I was like scrolling through the list of who's available. I was like, I know her, I know her, I know him. It was like that's crazy. I know all these people that
Yeah.
are on this platform charging whatever 1,000 plus an hour to be talking to, and like I know them and I have them in my WhatsApp or my Messenger. It's just starting to happen a little by little. Um,
That's incredible.
yeah,
That's that's where I'm aspiring to be in the next 4 years. I'm committing to that.
yeah, dude, you'll be there. Just say yes to random opportunities like you did with Atlas, and you'll get there.
Yes, yes. Um, Speaking of being the next leaders, I have, after exploring or after going through the Explore program, I felt much more gratitude and uh, comfort with you. I think because like knowing that like you went through that, and then after I went through it, like understanding that like you were setting me up with this, not only to be a better leader, but to be more comfortable with myself and my capabilities so that I can be a better leader. I think, yeah, there was just like a whole new sense of gratitude for that. Um, and so, with that being said, yes, yeah, with that being said, I don't have a NDA for you to sign. I know we talked last time about that. I don't have one because I trust you and I've seen everything you've given me, and I think that's a big step for me because, you know, given my last partnership, I know you've been through bad partnerships. Um, but yeah, I trust you. It was just like a big like understanding of gratitude whenever I went through that.
Nice. That's good. Yeah, you're
Yes.
choosing the
Yeah.
black game over and
Yes.
over again.
Yes. Yes, we're choosing the black game. But yeah, no, I don't have that, but I have my assistant in Pakistan working on um, building up like a proposal. I'm giving her all the different information for her to input in for like a proposal, just to like get like a mock-up of an kind of what my goal is and like what we're shooting for next, so I can present that to you.
Nice. Yeah, looking forward to seeing what you have in mind for a vision for how we would be in a working relationship.
Yeah, no, I'm super excited.
Yeah, it was really interesting for me to observe. I was offline for 12 days, and I come back, and it's like I wasn't needed for anything. This is crazy. This is absolutely crazy that like I was not the bottleneck of anything. Nothing got screwed up because of my absence. We sold 3 houses. We bought 3 houses. Everyone was on fire. Like, our culture is the best it's ever been. People went through Atlas while I was gone. It's like, wow, like,
Yeah.
it's working. It's really a community-based business. It's like the ego has dissolved. It's not like
Yeah.
it's not just like this top-down hierarchy of everyone follow Tanner. And it's like very, very exciting. This has been a dream of mine for many years to have a business like that. Like, my net worth went up like 30K
Yes.
in like 12 days, and I didn't work. And it's like, wow, that's super epic. Like, I don't think many people ever get to experience that.
No, that's incredible. And the fact that like your company was able to accomplish that while you had 2 to 3 people gone at a program where they can't hardly touch their phones but a few hours a day pretty much, you know?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it was fun. We had a call yesterday. We do this quarterly culture meeting. So it's like all hands style. Like, we had 11 people on the call, and I was leading it. And there's all these like, let's shout out like inspiration that we've seen from others and customer success stories and ways in which like our core values are showing up in like the systems we've built. How, like, what ways have other people on the team served you? How is your life better as a result of being here? And it was so cool to just like listen to everyone on the team give their own testimony about, it's like our team really can bend and flex and be there for each other. It's been really cool. There's so much transparency on our team and so much like showing up to support others. When they need it. It's really freeing. I feel a lot of freedom.
That's amazing. That's incredible and inspiring, and I'm glad that we were able to play Frisbee together.
Dude, all the good things in my life
It all
come back
starts-
from I just thought about that a lot in my meditation. I'm like, wow, this ultimate Frisbee game. What a like magical little portal into all the things I ever wanted in my life. Like, found a business partner, found a
There's
wife,
so many-
found like massive joy and happiness. Like, I get to have great being in shape and health. I get to feel like a warrior leading a championship team still. Like I did, like I won a championship like 3 weeks ago, and I was captain of the team and stuff. And I was like, this is crazy. Like, this sport is amazing.
That's crazy. Yeah. Gotta love it. Gotta love the sport. That's what one of the things that they asked about was like what you enjoy doing, and I was like, Frisbee. Like, what sports, what hobbies, and I was like, Frisbee's definitely up there. I've been rusty this fall. I didn't do fall league, but we're going to get back into it next spring.
Yeah. And wait till you start to get really good at Frisbee. It's a whole nother level of opening when you start to get invited on teams and you start to like be in for the big plays and stuff, and the plays go through you. It's fun. You'll get there. Keep working at it.
Yeah. I'm down. I'm working on everything one step at a time.
Yeah, Frisbee is like similar to Alice. It's like this simulation of like how you play Frisbee is like how you play life. Like
Yeah.
Frisbee's not like less important than life. It's
Yeah.
like it's a little game you can play that represents how you play your life. It's feedback. It's a mirror. It's good stuff.
Yeah. All because of the choices that you make, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, and now like in this international hat tournament scene, I'm just meeting incredible people. I just got to like really contribute to
Sure.
this couple's life. There are two American people living in Thailand. They've been dating a year,
Mm.
and they were both sharing a lot with me. Like I was like sitting in between the two of them. I was like laying on the ground, like looking at the sky, and they're like sitting there, like cross-legged, and they're like, "Yeah, I think." I was like, "Why are you guys not ready to get married?" They're like, "Oh, that's a spicy question. Like, what's standing in the way of you proposing to her right now? Like, is there something you don't like about her? Is there something you don't like about yourself?" And they're like, "Oh, wow, we're going here." And it's back to
Yeah.
those like those
Yeah.
self-worth conversations and those feelings of like not enough and those feelings of like uh, time and linear head stuff needing to be the answer. And it's like let's get to what it really is. Like, what is the real issue here for you guys? And it was really cool to like sit there and like let them open up, and then like, oh, it's time to play the game. Let's go play a game. I'd throw the guy a pass. He has a diving catch in the end zone, spikes a disc and it roar, and it's like,
Hey,
and she was on the sideline like
that's great.
cheerleader mode, and I was like, what a interesting dynamic just with this one couple. And I had like so many things going. I was the captain of the team, so I spent one-on-one time with basically everyone on the team, and I spent lots of time on the field.
Yeah.
And it's just really fun to like, and the hat tournament is so unique because you don't come with preset teams. They're assigning the team,
Yeah.
and you start the tournament with names. What are your names? Who's played Frisbee before? What positions do you have? Do you guys comfortable with these stacks? And it's such a fun chance to just like, similar to Atlas, like bring this group of strangers together to go and make a goal happen. I love it. Well, my team went 8-0 and won the championship. And we had
That's
such good
crazy.
chemistry, and like we
Wow.
gave such good feedback to each other. I kept telling people like it's really only taking that 3 seconds and giving that little communication. Like that's what's gonna separate us from all these other teams here.
Yeah.
They're just holding their tongue when a miscommunication happened, and they're getting frustrated and they're holding resentment. Let's just talk. Hey, I wanted you to cut there. Why didn't you cut there? Oh, I thought that it needed to be this way. Okay. Well, next time, cut there because it will open up here. And I think we should pass the disc more instead of try to be the hero. Our women are our asset. Like, let's work through the women. And now we're the only team that's like, women are touching the disc more than men. And it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's like those little tiny tweaks and communications and pivots needed and in-game adjustments that like the halftime or a timeout. It's so fun for me to get to lead those. Like the Atlas work like really showed up in that stuff for me.
Yeah. And that's something that like you mentioned, you know, getting to know people on your team and you know, especially by being very, you know, blunt and just getting to know like their life and their motivations and like, you know, what's going on in their heads, you know, why they're making the decisions they're making. That's something that I learned is like, which I knew beforehand, that I'm very like, you know, play around the question, you know, toss around a few things. Hey, how's your day? Oh, that's good. Yeah, that's all right. Well, you know, I was thinking about the other day, and I was wondering, you know, maybe you'd want to like go, you know, have lunch. Anyway, I play around the questions so much, and there it's just like, are you available this time? Let's go. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm committed to. I see that the Frisbee culture in Kansas City has some work to do. It's about like getting into real connection with people. Yeah.
Yeah.
I got to be around all
That's-
those guys in Vegas.
You're going.
Yeah, there's a sense of like needing alcohol involved and like needing to kind of like
Yeah.
make fun of each other as a way of feedback instead of like actual feedback about it. And there's a sense of like
Yeah.
it doesn't really matter that much if I'm hungover, I'm late, or I'm broke a commitment. And it's like I see all these ways in which people are kind of degrading the potential of these relationships that we have, because everyone like really likes each other, really loves each other in this Frisbee community, but there's just ways of relating to one another that I think are eliminating what's possible.
Yeah. Oh gosh, yeah. And another thing that I mentioned, like you said, that they're not staying true to like their commitments and whatnot. I realized very early in that program that I am not keeping my word in the way that I should be, in the sense that like I'm constantly making excuses, and especially like having this business, running around all day doing these different tasks. A lot of times I would try to keep like a good work-life balance, but with my girlfriend, I'd be like, hey, let's go out tonight. And then later on, I'd be like, hey, there's no way that I can possibly do this. I have this, I'm really sorry. Anyway, we could do it a different day. But like, I wasn't keeping my word, because I was using excuses to, alter that. And even, I also noticed, even whenever I was able to sit there and connect with my girlfriend, like, there's a lot of times that in the back of my head, I was focused on something else, and I wasn't conscious and present with her. Like, I would listen to what she was saying, and I could respond, but I wasn't focused on her feelings, and like very conscious in the present moment.
That was like my first big breakthrough I had in Atlas, was just like, oh, other people are breaking their word to themselves. Why would I expect them to like keep their word to me? Like, I was too naive about how much I should trust other people when they don't even trust themselves to like be in integrity with what they said. And then I noticed ways in which I'm doing, like you said, ways in which I'm creating excuses or circumstances or stories that kind of get me out of being accountable for what I said I was going to do. Has really, this Atlas community is like a whole different standard around those things that I found to be very refreshing. Like, I want this in my world. Like, people say they're going to be somewhere, they're going to do something. Yeah. I don't want to have to micromanage or question that. Like, it's done. I know that this person, when they say they're going to get stuff done, they get stuff done. That's how you build like epic teams.
Yes. Yeah. I completely agree. And that's something that like I've been working on. That's why the first thing I did whenever I came home was like sit down with my girlfriend, had like a heart to heart, and I was like conscious with her,
Nice. That's cool. Has she seen some change in you?
Yeah. At first, before I came home, I would text her and called her for a minute, and she was like, you sound really different, I'm concerned. And I was like, no, it's okay, I'm still the same person. And then I got here and I had to sit down with her, and we kind of like talked through like the stuff that I learned, and she like took a breath and she was like, okay, I guess it's okay. She's like, it was ultimately for the better, even though at first she was worried. She was like, oh my gosh, there's going to be like a whole different person like coming home too, that's not going to give me the time of day or something like that. And I was just like, no.
Did you think of anyone in your life that you want to go through it?
Oh, I think there are people that would benefit from the explore part in my life that like I already know of right off the bat. But I think the whole program, I'm not sure, just because I don't have a lot of friends outside of like you and the Casey group that went, and like the Dharma people, that I don't have a lot of friends outside of that are very like have very high like goals or ambitions or things that they would like be able to apply it to in like a leadership standpoint.
Wow, so you're going to be stretched to go find some friends from this program.
Yeah, I probably will, but that's a challenge I'm committed to. I'm hoping to make those new connections with people that have that growth mindset. So, that's just even more motivation for me to.
Yeah, I too had a similar insight of like, wow, I don't think there's enough people that are thinking at the level of me about my life. Like, why do I build this thing where I'm like higher than everyone else around me? Like, no, like, let's find more people that want to like live a big, expansive, elevated life, and yeah, it's happening slowly and slowly.
Yeah. I heard there was going to be a Dharma party coming up in like what, February or something? Or March maybe?
Yeah, I didn't hear about that. There's a February or March Dharma party.
I don't know. That's what I was trying to confirm with you because I forget who said it, but someone at Atlas was mentioning it. They said it was some sort of coming home or going away or like gratitude party for something. I can't remember what it was, but I was just trying to confirm or deny that.
Yeah. I do want to do an experience I've done for 5 years. It's called Year in Review. It's like 4 hours of going through photos and journal entries and making essentially like a goal / vision board that that you like hang up. Like I have it in my room. I don't know if you saw it, but it's like highlights. You like reflect on lessons and highlights from last year. You do like a life audit of like 8 different categories of your life on a scale of 1 to 5, and then you come up with like your 5 goals for next year. And over 4 hours, like you wind up having this thing. I would like to do that again. Like we had it the last 5 years. Me and Phil have co-hosted it, and we've typically had 10 to 15 people show up on a Zoom and then like another 5 or 7 or so in person. And so I put out a message to Neva about that yesterday that I want to start to organize that, where they can do a Friday evening together and have dinner and stuff in person, and then me and others can join from Zoom. We'll see if we could do that. I think that'd be great. Like, and that would attract people that are goal oriented and wanting to be reflective and stuff. Yeah. So relationships can spin off of showing up to a dinner with 10 people that are all there to like reflect on their life and set goals for the next year. I think that it's different than a party. It's not really a party, but I think like I want stuff like that to be a part of Dharma too.
Yeah, that would be incredible. And just like different like creative exercises, I think are like incredible like that too.
Yeah, and then I had an idea during my meditation to do my birthday's October 9th, and so doing a Dharma party with a Frisbee hat tournament and a birthday party for me all in one would be super epic. Next October. And it's like such an interesting time of Frisbee too. It's like a dead space in Frisbee where like the club season has been over for like 3 or 4 weeks, and the fall like league stuff the tournament's not happening yet. Going to like that harvest tournament or Vegas is like late October. And so I think we could have great attendance. I think the weather would be really nice too, and we could combine kind of Atlas people with Dharma and Frisbee, and we can start to have like transformation happen in all of my communities, like intersect different communities that don't normally talk to each other. Mm-hmm. And because it's a birthday party, my family would come out, and so we'd have like Frisbee, and we could use the soccer fields next door as our venue, so that you can have really high quality Frisbee games on those fields. So it'd be like play Frisbee, then walk over to my property. We'll have barbecue, potluck, bonfire, live band / DJ, fire spinning. We'll have a lot of places people can circle up and get to know each other. And then we'll offer like a sleepover, like camping in the yard or sleeping in the house. And then we'll go the next morning for day 2 of the tournament. Yeah, I think that would be like super fun. Get maybe like 150 Frisbee people and like 50 Dharma people, and have 200 people all like commingling at an event. And if you make that, and then you open that up to like people from Omaha and Des Moines and St. Louis and people in those Frisbee communities that come through, like suddenly this thing starts to get regional, this Dharma concept. Yeah.
Yes.
I see a lot of compounding effects of like intersecting everything around and it would be like something I like love, all of those things. I like purposeful, intentional conversations, community gathering, and ultimate Frisbee, like, and camping and nature and like music. And yeah, let's do it all together. It was like a weekend. It's like an idea that I had.
That would be insane.
Yeah. And then I was thinking that at the tournament too, like what I noticed is there's lots of like girlfriends and wives and friends and family members that stop by to see, but they never played the game. So I was thinking we could do like an intermission where they have like a 30-minute game for all like the plus ones that never get to play. It's like a game to 3 or something like that, and we're all on the sidelines cheering them on, and they're doing like 7-on-7, and they have like 3 subs, and they're doing like a game to 3. And it might get some of them hooked to want to like actually join a league or something. You know.
Let's go, yes. That would be amazing. I think that would be such an experience. That'd be such a vibe for 2 days. Wow.
Yeah, and I think because people would be saving on like hotel venue and dinners and like, all that stuff. Like I think it could be like $100 weekend for people. Like it's super affordable way to have a really great time. Yeah, we could have food trucks there at the tournament.
We could get like food trucks, and I know you and I talked about like how it could be beneficial to get like businesses to sponsor like the parties, like get them. I mean, they'd probably be willing to sponsor like jerseys and stuff for that. You know?
Yeah. I want to get the home guru on the jerseys too, and like. Yeah, just really get people to start having awareness of like what we're doing in our lives, and getting more people to be aware of the brand and feel the brand, because like my business brand is also this. Like it's not like I'm living double life anymore. Like the way my business feels to interact with is also the way it feels like to be on my Frisbee team. So it's like that's what I'm going for, is like total integration.
You know what? And that would be like a sick idea if like you had these different teams and you like found these different Frisbee players that all had their own business, and their business sponsored those teams, and then they were like captaining those teams, and so they could each show like their different culture for like the team. That'd be crazy.
Choose captains that are entrepreneurs. That'd be interesting. Yeah, in order to be a captain of my hat tournament, you have to own a business.
Start them now so you're ready for next year, honestly.
That'd be epic. Yeah.
That would be epic.
Yeah, I love hat tournaments. There's something really special about it.
I know. Especially like not knowing anyone and then just coming together, and especially if you go 8-0, that's insane.